Good morning, everyone. We are now going to do our next member spotlight, and I wish I had "Hail to the Chief" to be able to play in the background. As our member spotlight today is Barry Devine, who just took over for being our new president. So, Barry, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's every day blends one into the next.
Yes.
I have to keep looking at the calendar to remind myself what day it is.
Yeah, well, this week was probably a little bit easier for you to remember what day was what, considering it was the extension for the tax period ended. But just
very, very much so.
Yes.
Luckily, I was done on Tuesday.
Oh, well, there you go. A day to spare.
Yeah, usually before April 15th, we're done by the 11th or 12th.
Yes.
All our extensions that are going to be made are out. And at that point, we're just doing cleanup work.
Right. Yes. Well, I like you, was sort of losing the days and what they were becoming. And then on a Sunday, April was like, oh, yeah, we should probably do our taxes. And so luckily having a bookkeeper as
Yes.
a wife makes it pretty easy for me. I just have to give her all the forms and she takes care of everything.
Most accountants I know, we're like, we always extend our returns. You know, it's the old comment, the shoemaker's children go barefoot.
Right. So true. So true.
We're doing so many other people's returns that we can't face our own.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad that you were able to be done and that everything went well, hopefully, and smoothly as it can be. So I wanted to just sort of start off with, being president of a synagogue. Sometimes people are very anxious for that, although I feel like sometimes maybe people are a little bit more hesitant. So what was it sort of that made you want to jump into the pipeline to be president of Temple of Aaron?
There was a need, and I felt I could fill that need. I've been the leader of many organizations. I've been president of BBYO, an ACA chapter. I was the president of the B'nai B'rith Bowling Association. I've been a lifetime board member of the B'nai B'rith Bowling Association. I've been, a leader of, I was a president of my B'nai B'rith Lodge. So, leadership has always come a little easier to me. And I've usually succeeded well because of the people that I have with me. And that I have an outstanding group of officers and board members in the case of the Temple of Aaron that I feel a lot more comfortable now becoming the leader. I learned a lot from Steve Kafetz the last year, who, he came to the temple through marriage.
Right.
And Steve was an outstanding president and an outstanding mentor and teacher. And those things helped me in guiding me and saying, well, yeah, I want to go ahead and I want to get things done. I have contacted a few past presidents of the temple over the years, and I'm always open to discuss matters with, and I like to reach out to, our past leaders for guidance at times and just to bounce something off of them.
Great. That sounds like a very well thought out way of doing it. And, although it seems like that should be obvious to lean on people who have been there before. But unfortunately, sometimes there are those of us who maybe like to recreate the wheel instead of trying to go off of what's been functioning already and working. And I think that happens in any organization, any structure like that, and a synagogue and board of the synagogue is no different. So Steve, so let's see. So Barry, how long have you been a member here?
Well, I like to refer to myself as a lifetime member of Temple of Aaron because I was born into Temple of Aaron. And I usually say, yeah, I'm a lifetime member, except for the 17 years I spent out of town.
Right.
in New Hope, Minnesota.
Ah, there you go. There you go. And so
during that time, I went to shul at Temple Israel with my in-laws.
So from being a lifetime member, You've
Mhm.
probably seen lots of different activities, programs, even your own simchas maybe as well. What are maybe one or two of your fondest memories of the Temple of Aaron?
Well, my bar mitzvah stands out.
Yeah.
I was in a class of about 39 others were bar mitzvah that year, and in fact, we had so many that a couple of them had to double up on
Wow.
the same Sabbath. And in fact, two of my good friends met each other in doubling up for their bar mitzvah, and have stayed friends since that for the rest of their lives. So it was pretty fascinating, and it was a fun time. There were a lot of parties. Back then, the parties were at the Commodore Hotel, the Standard Club in Minneapolis, a number of different places outside of the shul. Very few parties were held at the Temple of Aaron, although my main party was held Saturday night at the temple.
Oh. Nice.
So,
What
but
was your parsha?
Haye Sarah.
Oh, you and I have the same parsha.
Which I was hoping to do this winter on the 60th anniversary of my bar mitzvah.
Oh, wow.
So we're still hoping out hope.
Right.
That,
Right.
that we might be back in temple at that time, and I would do it at that time.
Yes.
So
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So I've started a little practice, but I need to work some more.
Very good. Yeah, I remember my bar mitzvah. It was Haye Sarah, and it was
Yep.
did it over Thanksgiving because as a rabbi's kid with different celebrations, everyone tends to try and come. And we said, well, we can maybe limit it a little bit if we do it over Thanksgiving because people will be traveling. Plus, it was nice for us to be able to celebrate with my family.
Well, another thing was the Friday night service was Veterans Day when I had my bar mitzvah, so the place was packed for my kiddush, which I still felt I did a darn good job on.
Well, there you go. And then, so of course, we're all out of routines, not really being in offices, although now I'm sort of starting to phase back in, as you can tell. It's now we have the background of my books instead of my kitchen or my couch. But, we're out of routines. We're sort of missing different things. We have been missing them. What's something maybe in general or from the synagogue that you might not have expected to be missing, and now as this has carried on a little bit longer, you're realizing you're missing it a lot more?
The getting to the community, the communal gathering on Saturdays over lunch is probably the thing I miss the most.
Yeah.
It was a time where you could sit at a table with a group of people and you could move around week to week. And I would have two of my grandchildren would join me, although they wouldn't sit with me most weeks. But that's kids today, grandchildren at least. But it was getting them there and having them there with me that I miss probably the most.
Yeah.
It's a tough routine.
No, it is. You're right. I think, and especially here for us, Kiddush lunch was such a big day, just, whether it be gathering around for a l'chaim before everyone went and rushed to the lines or anything like that, or for me having the kids around and trying to make sure they don't rip off too much challah and making sure that they share and have enough. But yeah, no, those little small things, like that's the actual thing for me a little bit more as I was thinking about it, is that experience of having Arya and all the other kids from the school coming up on the bima and being part of Hamotzi, that it might not seem like a major part of the Shabbat morning service, but that was something as I was thinking about it more and more as I've been doing these, is like that's a small moment that I'm definitely missing that I might not have thought about so much prior to this. And it's, but also this has allowed us, while we might be missing routines, this has allowed us, maybe the good or bad, depending on how you've been using the extra time, to dive into maybe new movies, new binge watching experiences, or unfortunately, maybe spending too much time on Amazon and seeing like, oh, I could use that since I'm home all day. That might be a good idea. So I'm curious if there's something maybe that you've bought that you were just like, this was a surprising buy, or something that you've watched, or it could even be read that, you might have had time, something that you've done over this time that was maybe rewarding in a new way or sort of out there as an strange experience.
Well, I first bought this one on a guidance, for in case taking movies, but I found that even this is supposed to be the large one, and it doesn't cover much. So yesterday or the day before, I got these at Sam's Club.
Oh.
They came in a pack of 4 for $4.
Yeah.
So that's been, among the things. And then the masks.
Right.
My alumni mask from the University of Minnesota, and now the latest purchase is the Van Gogh mask.
Starry Night, yes.
Starry Night. And I keep looking for, things like that. But I'm a big reader. I'm an avid reader. I read probably 20 to 30 books a year.
Wow.
I do some binge watching. There's some shows that I caught up on. The series, the Bosch series, the Ozark series, the Goliath series. Those I liked a lot. I just joined Masterclass, bought Masterclass, and I gave my gift subscription to my son, my middle son, Michael, who's an attorney, and thank you. But among the people I'm watching is James Patterson, who I used to think was just, because of all the books he would publish a year, I had a different term for him that was not so nice. And then I saw him on 60 Minutes one time going through his process. And after that, I'd only read like two series of his on a regular basis, which was the Alex Cross series and the Women's Murder Club. And I'm right now reading the 20th novel in the Women's Murder Club series, the 20th victim. But I'm also taking his class on Masterclass on how to write.
Oh, wow.
And I found it fascinating. He is a very interesting guy, and he's one to follow. I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of Swedish, Norwegian, Finnish crime novels, and by many authors. And just between that and listening to various sorts of music. In fact, I'm missing what I missed this year is I would have had my 38th and 39th concert by the Dave Matthews Band.
Wow.
We would have attended last month, my son and I, but we had that got moved to next year now. So keep hoping for that. I saw my first show with Dave Matthews Band in 1996 at Target Center. And since 2004, my son and I have been pretty much regulars, taking in 2 shows a year in a number of years. The most that we've ever done was 4 shows in 2018.
Oh, wow.
But my love of music is also, I have a love of Jewish music. And when I was at convention in Boston, there were 2 nights. Joey Weisenberg and the Chadar group performed one night, and the other night was Josh Warshawski, and Colleen Deeker was part of his group that night. Unfortunately, Deborah Sachs-Mintz, she was part of both of them, I think. But when Josh came to Bethel earlier this year, Deborah was not able to join them. But that love of music really came from Herzl Camp. We had great song directors, starting with Mickey Greenberg, and many others that followed him. And in fact, my good friend that just passed away this last week, Steve Scher, who became a cantor, was a song director at Herzl one year, and he came up with a musical arrangement for Dodie Lee that he and two others, Rabbi Joe Black and Cantor Lippitz, Ricky Lippitz, performed as the Jerusalem Trio, and it's out on YouTube. And his version of Dodie Lee was picked up by Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Oh, wow.
Recorded on their Flowers and Stone album.
Wow. Yeah. Music, I think for us, I mean, in Judaism and all that, I think that's one of the major things that is amazing that we have and how we put it, whether it be people actually writing liturgy and composing stuff, for that. I was part of our High Holiday Choir and was a big part. We saw a lot of those classic sort of compositions that are so well known. But then also, I mean, I had the privilege of going to school with Josh. And so I got to see him quite often just in the halls or around playing and figuring stuff out. But yeah, for myself too, it started with camp. And actually for me, it was day camp. My day camp was at a different congregation in St. Louis. But at that camp, Rick Recht was the song leader. And so I got exposed and got to know him very, very early and very well. And so it's just amazing the way that music can transform and elevate your soul and elevate your connection and your experience. And it's really amazing. And that's one thing I've been doing is listening to lots of different types of music and trying just to expand that area for myself. And, I wish I maybe would have picked up a couple hobbies. I've been seeing, a ton of people have been picking up new hobbies or skills or, making their own sourdough bread, whatever it might be. Is there something that you've tapped into in terms of, we talked about the reading and music, but is there anything else that you've tried to do that you were like, you know what, I've always wanted to plant a garden. I've always wanted to do X, Y, and Z. And you know what, I have the ability to do something now that I might not have been able to try and master on some level, or at least put in your repertoire of things that you do.
Well, I love to grill. And in that light, recently I replaced the old grill I had with a new Weber fancier grill, and which works. I've used it twice now since it was delivered the end of last week, and it's slick. It's very slick and very very easy to work with. The selling point on it was the company that sold it to me had to pick up the old one and haul it away. I tried to buy it at one place, Home Depot, and they wouldn't do that. So I ended up giving my business to someone else.
Yep.
He said that's what they offered to do, and that was the selling point. I'm doing little fix-it jobs around the house. I'm working on, I have a new desk for my office upstairs that my son, prior to COVID, was going to help me put together, and then COVID hit.
Right.
So we're in the process of redoing my office upstairs.
Nice.
So that's something that is going to get done, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Right. Yes. Yeah, no, it's been interesting. We've been dabbling more in different types of food prep and different things and trying different recipes. April, it's often now sometimes that we'll be making dinner and Aria will ask for April's phone and she won't have a phone, and I'll be sitting there maybe doing work or answering an email, and she'll be like, I need your phone. I need to take a picture of what I just made. So we've become a fan of trying to be a little bit more creative and doing that. And for one of our big purchases that we made was we brought a Ninja air fryer.
Okay.
So we have an air fryer that we use to cook up our tempeh or our tofu, and so little less oil. So that's probably a benefit for us, and it's pretty quick. You can just set it and forget it. So that's kind of nice.
I bought one of those, and it sat in the box, and my son saw it. He wanted to try it out. So he took it to try it out. And he says it works great, but he doesn't see the need to keep it around, but he hasn't returned it yet. So
Right. Yeah. There's no need
now,
for it, but you don't need it either.
now that it's out of the box, and I'm ready to go with it,
Right.
Um,
No, well, great. Well, Barry, thank you for spending some
you bet.
time and letting us get to see you. And
Thank you.
we look forward to seeing everything that you're going to be able to do in your term as president. So thank you again, Barry.
Thank you, Rabbi.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for
Bye.
watching. Have a great day.